Who's the king of corny jokes? Popcorn. Okay.
Okay, I got one.
Yeah.
Okay, there was this big fan farm, right? There's huge two metal fans, right?
Yeah.
Huge. And one says to the other, "What's your favorite music?" And what does the other one say? "I'm a huge metal fan."
Oh.
I didn't get the joke.
It's
You didn't get it?
literally a huge
Metal is a
fan.
type of music back in the 80s.
Metal.
It's like
metal.
it's very loud. But
Hard
they
metal.
saying I'm a huge metal fan because he's like a fan of the music,
What
but
do
he's
you call
literally a
Sash
metal
Rock?
I'm a
fan.
huge metal fan. Now I got it. Okay.
What do you call a sad strawberry?
A blueberry.
A blueberry, yeah, that's good.
No,
Is
what do you?
that
Yeah.
it? You guessed it.
Oh wow.
What
What?
do you hit when you see a young guy and an older gentleman walking in the street?
What?
You see a what?
What do you see when you see? What do you hit when you see an old guy
You
and
hit?
an old guy and a young? Okay, a young guy. Okay. What do you hit when you see an
Hit.
young? Yeah.
Like punch?
No, wait. Get the question. What do you hit when you see a young kid and an older gentleman crossing the road?
What do you hit? You hit a gentleman.
Why the gentleman?
I don't know.
What?
That's the joke.
No, it's not a question joke. So basically, one was taking a driving test, and someone asked him, "What do you see? What do you hit when you see an old guy and a young kid?" So he's like, "I hit the old guy because he has a whole lot, because the kid has a whole life ahead of him. So I hit the old man, right?" It's like, no, you hit the brakes. That's what you hit.
That was the joke. Okay, thank you for all the jokes. So the class is sponsored for the Nishmas, Hirsch Gedalia, Bernard Levi, and Chava Basson Leonard, and Shana Basson Leonard, is sponsored by the Bart Chalev Levi Ben Shana Sara. He's married for the blessings, physically, spiritually, find the right zivug very soon. And and it's.
Did you say Shana Sarah?
No, not Shana Sara, I just said Shana. I said Shana.
I thought I heard Shana Sarah.
I said Shana Sara? I said,
my mom.
it's your name. So Eitan Shmuel Coin.
It's your mom.
I said Shana, I added a Sara maybe. And the broadcast is sponsored by Eitan Shmuel and Shana Sara. Okay.
Oh.
Okay. I mean, this is your computer. So it's.
Is that it? Yours.
It's God's, okay. It's the schus also. Ken, they're live. It's also the schus myself that I should work on the set of Yaakov Kula Mashiach Ala Torah and finish it very soon. Toiv, right? Al Zedi Barnu, Rambam Shalayim. This is on the Chumash in order to finish the last Chumash about Mashiach Al Chumash. Be'ezer Hashem, should work on it every day. Be'ezer Hashem, Cham Cham.
הרב אמר פעם למישהו הרבי שאל אותו על הספר של פיס וייטפיס, יש להתעכב מכל מיני סיבות, אבל הרבי אמר שהעצה היא לעשות תאריך.
מתי הוא צריך לגמור את זה?
אם אתה תעשה תאריך...
איזה ספר זה? אתה יודע?
אני
לא זוכר פרטים. אבל עצם העניין אתה זוכר.
אני הייתי שם.
לא, כן, בסדר, אולי אתה יודע.
שהרבי אמר למישהו שחשוב לעשות תאריך.
חשוב,
חשוב, לא בדיוק, שיעשה זמן.
כן.
מה קורה של...
אוקיי.
דברים של עצמנו, לפעמים אנחנו דוחים, זה אני חושב לעצמי, כן.
כן. There's a video of a guy going by the Rebbe by dollars, and Rabbi Tannenbaum is busy printing the Rogachover's Torah. So the Rebbe told him the Rogachover ate fast, and he wrote fast, and he walked fast, and he smoked fast. He was quick. He wrote. Everything was very quick by the Rogachover. So the Rebbe told him, so too you should print his Torah. You should this guy with Tenenbaum from Eretz Yisrael is printing the Rosh Hashanah's Torahs. So the Rebbe said you should also do it quickly. Just like the Matim to the Machaber, the Rosh Hashanah, you should.
שמעתי בירושלים סיפור שהגצ'ובר, מי שהיה בא אליו לסמיכה,
Christmas Kiddush at Torah.
אז הוא היה קשור ללובביץ', הוא היה לא מייגע אותו יותר מדי. ודאי שהוא היה בוחן, אבל לא מייגע. פעם זה אחד מסנהג אמר שכל החסידים מקבלים סמיכה, לא יודע מה, הוא מחליט שהוא צריך ללכת, אתה מאוד חשוב, ללכת לקבל סמיכה גם כן. אז הוא הגיע אליו, שאל אותו כל מיני שאלות, אחר כך הוא אמר לו, נו, איך אני? הוא אומר, לפי המקום שאתה נמצא, זה יכול להיות יותר טוב. איפה שהוא מגיע, משהו כזה.
You know what the Rebbe said that the Rosh he would ask a person to learn Hilchas Kriyas Torah. If he wants to get smicha from him, you need to learn Hilchas Kriyas Torah. The Rebbe said this. Why? So the Rosh said, when the person came, he saw there was Yirei Shamayim. It was Yirei Shamayim. So if he has a question, if someone's going to ask him a question in Allah, he's not going to be soymech on what he learned and what he knows. He's going to open up a sefer and look inside. If someone's Yirei Shamayim, he's going to look inside to make sure.
Yeah.
He says, but when it comes to Kriyas Torah, there's no time to open up a sefer because it's a bizarre for the Torah every second that the Torah is just waiting and you're not doing, So yeah, you should learn the halachas of Kriyas Torah. That was the Rosh Hashanah's Tanai to get some. The Rebbe said this.
זאת אומרת שאם הוא ידע הלכה של קריאת התורה, אז הוא ידע גם שהוא צריך לדעת את ההלכה.
Smicha many times is that a guy he's giving him smicha that he knows how to open up a sefer and find the answer. Mavdavka that he has all the ideas in his head right now. Hashtais that he can tell you about peh. But he can find the answer. The guy can learn it and he can open up a sefer and find the correct answer inside. In what case do you need to know about peh? And you can't just rely you're going to go open up. You need to know right now. That afanot can answer it. So that's my Kriyas Torah. That's what the Rebbe brought down from the Rosh Hashanah. The Rebbe got smicha from the Rosh Hashanah, so maybe that's how the Rebbe knows or whatever. Okay, so one of the main topics in this week's parsha is about splitting of Eretz Yisroel, splitting the land of Eretz Yisroel to every single Jew, every tribe, every single Jew. Now, when we're standing literally by the threshold of the Gula, just like when a guy's walking and walking till he gets home. Now he got home and he's standing by the doorpost and he's about to walk inside the house. We're holding now by the threshold of the Gula, and any second we're going to enter inside of the Gula. So what is the lesson from us from this week's Torah portion? We have to live with the time. But this, that Eretz Yisroel, about the splitting of the land of Eretz Yisroel, that very soon we're all going to go to Eretz Yisroel, the true and ultimate redemption, and Eretz Yisroel is going to be split. All the Jewish people that every Yid is going to get a piece in Eretz Yisrael. That's the lesson. Now, there still needs to be a lesson, the Rebbe says, for us when we're standing the second before the Gula. When we're still holding before the Gula, there needs to be a lesson from this, that of the splitting of the land of Eretz Yisrael. Why? Because it says, the Alter Rebbe says in Tanya, Torah is eternal. So even when we're in the last second of Golus, there's still a lesson from this that they're going to split Eretz Yisrael, that Eretz Yisrael is being split. It's not only a lesson for the future, even though it's the future any second, but there still needs to be a lesson for us now in the last seconds of Golus. And what's this lesson? The Rebbe says, according to the famous story that the Rebbe said many times that he heard from his father-in-law, that a chassid came to the Tzemach Tzedek, and he told the Tzemach Tzedek he wants to move to Eretz Yisrael to sit and daven and learn with the holiness of the Holy Land. He wants to live in the Holy Land and serve God in the Holy Land. So the Tzemach Tzedek told him, it's interesting that the Rebbe doesn't bring the whole line. The Rebbe just brings the words that the Tzemach Tzedek told him, Mach do Eretz Yisrael. Make here Eretz Yisrael. The Tzemach Tzedek.
Hillel Parcher or something like Reb Hillel Parcher, like it's not good enough. Like,
He says, he says, for some people, he says, Em felt Eretz Yisrael. What's the Lashon? Em felt. He says, Dir felt nicht Eretz Yisrael. Like, you magda Eretz Yisrael. There's a whole line. I don't remember the whole thing accurately, but it's a whole thing that Tzemach Tzedek told him. But the bottom line that Tzemach Tzedek told him is, make here Eretz Yisrael. You don't need to go to Eretz Yisrael
Like here in
to
Florida.
live in Eretz Yisrael. Make here, transform the here and the now Eretz Yisrael.
Like the Rebbe said about Florida.
Right.
Florida.
That's the Florida is going to be like the Yerushalayim or the Eretz Yisrael of America. Right. Or Miami, I'm not sure have to be Medaik Taka in the Lashon.
South Florida.
You have to be Medaik in the Lashon.
Florida.
I'm not sure.
No, I think he said South Florida.
Yeah.
South
I think he
Florida.
said Miami.
I remember it was in that was on the group. Okay, whatever it is, we'll look it up later. But there may be someone meanwhile we'll look up on his phone. Core, if I remember right after it was lifted, they asked. Oh yes, it says it on his Matseva, on his wife's Matseva, on his Matseva.
מיאמי התפשטה כבר בכל פלורידה, דושו של מיאמי.
Yeah. So the Rebbe says this is a lesson for every single Jew. Right? Just one second, I have to shut off my phone. Wait a minute. Do not disturb. Thank you. Okay, so the Rebbe says, because this was told us over and advertised by the Frierdiker Rebbe, to every single Jew, and by the Rebbe. So this is a lesson. If he advertised it to everyone, there's a lesson. There's a reason why he's advertising to everyone. There's a lesson for every single Jew from this story. That it wasn't only a line that Tzemach Tzedek said to that specific Jew that he needed to make Eretz Yisrael, but not necessarily does it apply to everyone? No, because it was advertised to everyone, there's a lesson for every single person from this that every single Jew needs to, even when we're not in Eretz Yisrael, we're still in Chutz La'aretz, we're still in the time of Golus. Even if we're in the last second of Golus, we need to transform Golus and Chutz La'aretz to Eretz Yisrael. The Rebbe says, but we need to understand, what does it mean to make here Eretz Yisrael? What are you doing? How do you change Florida to Eretz Yisrael? What do you need to do? Al pi Torah, al pi din. This is not Eretz Yisrael. You can't say that the halachas of Eretz Yisrael apply to Eretz Yisrael. So what does it mean to make it Eretz Yisrael? When could a Yid do all the mitzvahs? It's only in Eretz Yisrael. All the mitzvahs are tluis ba'aretz. So Eretz Yisrael is a very great place. And even when we're here, we're still even if you're going to make your Eretz Yisrael, you're still in Golus. We're still davening, facing to Eretz Yisrael 3 times a day, and we ask God to bring us to Eretz Yisrael. So what does it mean to make your Eretz Yisrael? And why is it necessary? And the Rebbe says especially, so that was the line that Tzemach Tzedek told to that person, and even if we're going to apply it to us now, okay? But maybe someone's going to ask that now, when the last generation of Golus, when according to all the signs of the redemption, Mashiach's already on his way. You can point with your finger and say, here, Hinei Zeh Mashiach ba, Mashiach is coming. It's coming now. So what does it mean to make here Eretz Yisrael? In 1 second from now, we're already going to go out of Golus. I'm going to go to Eretz Yisrael, Kipshuta, literally. So why should a guy say, why should I invest my time, my energy in something which is seemingly only temporary? Why should I transform, toil with my sweat and make Hollywood Eretz Yisrael when in 5 seconds from now we're going to go to Eretz Yisrael? So why do I need to turn this whole area into Eretz Yisrael? So the Rebbe says, we're going to explain this according to what it says in this week's parsha, which, like we mentioned yesterday, between Mincha Ma'ariv, what it says, that al pi hagoyro yicholik esaretz. According to the raffle, you should split the land. So Rashi says, what does it mean? He brings from the Gemara. What does it mean? Al pi hagoyro, that the goyro itself had a pi, had a peh. The raffle had a mouth, and the raffle itself was talking. Hagoyro hayu medabin. The raffle was talking, and the raffle, when they made the raffle was screaming and saying, Ani hagoyro, I'm the raffle. Halisi, Ligvul Plani, Lishavit Plani. I came out to be this piece of land to this and this tribe. So the question is, the Rebbe asks, what is the reason and the purpose for this miracle? God doesn't make miracles for nothing. God loves the nature of the world. That's what the Rebbe brings from Reb Nissim Goyen, that Teva itself is created by God. So God tries as much as possible not to break the nature of the world when it's unnecessary. If you go pull it through naturally, pull it through naturally. You can't, you do it not, you do it supernaturally. But the question is, in this case, why is it necessary to make such an awesome miracle? Can you imagine? A piece of paper is talking.
Harry Potter.
I don't know Harry Potter, but a piece of paper talking is a miracle. So what's the point of the miracle? So the point was to prove that it's real. The guy's gonna say, who says the raffle is accurate? Maybe I meant to get a different piece of land. So it says, first of all, that before they made the raffle, the Kohen Gadol had the order of Tumim, which he said in advance with the Ruach HaKodesh, that if and this tribe is going to come up in this raffle, he's going to get this in this piece of land, and then because there was two buckets. One bucket had the 12 tribes in it, the 12 pieces of paper with the names of the 12 tribes. And another bucket had 12 pieces of paper that had names of the 12 pieces of land. One was 12 tribes, 12 pieces of land, and each leader of each tribe went there, and he mixed it up, and he stuck his hand in, and he pulled out his tribe, and he mixed his hand, and he took out the piece of land that would get from him. But what proved that this raffle was real, that's what God wants. Maybe it's about to be someone else who says that that's really his piece of land. So first of all, before they made the raffle, he said this tribe is going to go, and he's going to pick up his piece, his tribe, and he's going to mix up in a piece of land, and this piece of land is what's going to come up, and that's what they did, and that's exactly how it came up. So why wasn't that enough to prove that was real, that it was accurate? It wasn't just happened to be that this is what the raffle came up. Right. Why do you need the raffle itself to come out and scream and say, to prove it even more, to say that I'm the raffle and I came up to this piece of land of this tribe? This is seemingly an extra miracle, an unnecessary miracle, which we could have known that it's a real raffle without it. So the Rebbe explains, God said, Ach, begoidol yicholik esaretz. What does begoidol mean with the raffle? What does ach mean? Only with the raffle you should split the land. You shouldn't split the land through anything else but the raffle, which means that if I want to prove that the raffle is real, I need that to come from the raffle itself. It can't come out from something else outside of the raffle, like the Kohen Gadol. Because then what's making the raffle a legitimate raffle that's not only from the raffle, it's coming from something else. What's splitting the land? Not the raffle itself. What's clarifying the legitimacy and the accuracy and the precision, how precise the raffle is? It needs to come all from the raffle, because it says you should split the land only with the raffle. It can't come from something else outside the raffle. If what's proving that the raffle is real is going to come from the Kohen Gadol and come from Ruach HaKodesh and come from a whole bunch of stuff from the outside of the raffle, then what does that mean? That what's splitting the land? What's letting me know that this raffle is real? You have the raffle and also the Ruach HaKodesh and also something else. It's not only the raffle. I need every single thing to be 100%. I can't have half with this and half from that. The raffle is going to do this half, and the accuracy of the raffle is going to come from somewhere else. That means that it's not completely, everything is not coming from the raffle. And it says only from the raffle you shall split the land. That's why the raffle itself was talking and speaking and proving that it's a real raffle. The guy's going to have a doubt and say, yeah, maybe the raffle isn't precise. Maybe it happened to come out, but I don't really think that this is the way it should be. So from the people's perspective that they're accepting the raffle, they can be doubting the raffle. So the raffle comes out that it's not a complete raffle. So through clarifying that it's 100% real, however you're going to do that, that is a very important piece in this whole raffle business. And if that's going to be coming from something else outside of the raffle, what does that mean? That I'm not only, it's the whole, my trust in the raffle is not completely from the raffle. It's coming from something else also. That's why the raffle itself is screaming and saying, I'm the raffle. That the splitting of the land should come completely from the raffle itself. So now the question is, the Rebbe asks, okay, so we explained that everything needs to be complete. The raffle itself needs to be 100%. I can't have outside factors clarifying that it's a real raffle. Because that means that the raffle itself is not something complete. The raffle is missing the arm and a leg, and I'm going to take from someone else an arm and a leg and connect it over here. The raffle is missing a fantasy, and it's going to come from outside. So that's why the raffle itself needed to speak. But the question is, what's the purpose? What's the bottom line? What are we trying to do over here? We're trying to split the land. That is the goal over here, to split the land. Right? The raffle is only something in the middle. It's a means to an end. The whole purpose is not to make a raffle. The whole purpose is to split the land. In order to split the land, you make a raffle. So who cares about if the raffle is not going to be 100%? If it's only something in the middle, if it's only here to get me to splitting of the land, so who cares if it's not 100%? Okay, you got it 90%, and now the 10% to authenticate it is going to come from the Ruach HaKodesh. That's enough. If, it's like guys, you need to get somewhere. So who cares? Your first class, second class, third class. Well, you're on the way. There's a famous story from the Moshel, from the Chavetz Chaim. I remember seeing it in the children's book. So he said over there, he saw a guy was on a train, and the guy that's on the train is busy painting his little place where he's sitting on the train. He's painting, and he made it look all fancy, and he got fancy curtains, and he made a cushioned chair, and he made everything he really started investing on his train ride. And the Chavetz Chaim, I think, is over there, and he's like, he doesn't care, it's all stinking and smelling, broken, and hard wooden benches, and whatever, and he couldn't care less. So he said, because I'm just on the way now, I don't really care how good it is or not. Even if it's not so comfortable, I'm driving on the train. A train ride is not my house. My house, if I'm going to invest in something that it should be perfect, that I'll invest in my house. But I'm on the road. Who cares? I'm sitting in a train. I'm driving on a train for an hour, for 3 hours. What does it make a difference? So too, the Chofetz Chaim says that this world is only it's only like a train ride for Olam Haba. So who cares about the Gashmias? And it's actually one of the Rabbeim. I remember seeing in the Rebbe.
Anti-chamber.
What?
Called the anti-chamber.
The anti-chamber, what does that mean?
The room before.
The room before, right.
The pros door. It's called the pros door.
Like it says, it's like a hallway. So basically, yeah. So one of the Rabbeim said the same thing, that when you're on the way, who cares about you don't invest. I think one of the Rabbeim had like very junky furniture in his house or something, and his house was like really, really. So he said, Maggid of Medrash. So that's what it was. So he said, we're only on the way over here, so it doesn't really you don't need to invest so much. That's a certain. So the question over here is a similar question. The raffle is not the bottom line. It's not the goal. The goal is the splitting of the land. So who cares how accurate, how perfect the raffle is? Like you're making the raffle, okay? No, so you got the piece of land, you get this. You have the Urim V'Tumim, you have the Ruach HaKodesh that says that this is the way it's going to come out to prove that it's real. Why do I need it to make a miracle, such a big miracle that the raffle itself is screaming, in order that the raffle should be 100%, that the raffle should be what's clarifying and authenticating that it's a real raffle? It needs to come only from the raffle, and it needs to be 100% from the raffle. That's why the raffle itself is screaming. For this, why does a raffle need to be 100%? Why does it need to be perfect if it's only a middle thing? The purpose is not the raffle itself. So the Rebbe explains, according to what the Rogatchover says. The Rogatchover says like this: Kol davar, af shehu echreichi l'chayra, hakol bekavana machuvan u'mitzvah al pi Hashem. The Rogatchover says anything, even if it's you have to have it because it's technical that you need to have it. It is. Even that is by divine providence. Or not only that, that is exact, which means, like we said yesterday, the example he brings over there, or for example, the Yidden were traveling in the desert. 42 stops in the desert. Even though this is only a preparation, and it's a way, it's a pathway to get to Eretz Yisroel. Nevertheless, walking around in the way, in the desert, is also a mitzvah. And that's why Moshe Rabbeinu wrote down all the 49 stages. They went from here to there, and from there to there, and from there to there. Why does he need to write all the stops? Who cares? Walking through the desert is only something technical. You need to get, a guy is going down the road. I was speaking to someone the other day. So he told me he went down the road. He says, I went from here, and I passed down this street, and that street, and that street. I made a right, I made a left. I went up the stairs. I'm like, okay, well, what do you have to tell me all of these details? Who cares? You came here, you went from here to there, and have a nice day. Why is it necessary to say the whole way you went? Why is Moshe Rabbeinu recording the 49 stages, 49 stops?
Not 49.
I'm sorry, 42. I'm based on my sites, right? The 42 stops throughout the desert. Just say that you went from here to the desert and that's it. And so too, Rogatchover says no. The way itself is 100% precise, set up by God, and the way itself is a mitzvah on itself. Walking from stage to stage, that itself is a mitzvah. The way itself is, like they say, the path itself is the goal. It's not only to get to the goal, and who cares about the way in the middle? The way itself is the goal. The pathway itself is part of the goal. And he says so too in many Yonim of Kedusha, different avoiders in the Beis HaMikdash. He says, even though certain things, when they walk through in the Beis HaMikdash, are only seemingly technical things, they're preparations. Like we said yesterday, that shechting the carbon, slaughtering the animal is a mitzvah. To accept the blood from the animal is a mitzvah. To spill the blood on the mizbeach is a mitzvah. But what's about walking from the place where you shechted the animal till the mizbeach to pour the blood? Is that a mitzvah also? That seemingly you have to walk. What, he's going to have wings and fly, then he's just going to appear in a second by the actual mizbeach? You need to technically walk. Now, if you think the wrong thought, when you bring a carbon, you think you're going to eat the carbon where you're not meant to eat it, or in a time when you're not meant to eat it, that disqualifies the carbon, it parcels the carbon. Well, that thinking the wrong thought parcels the carbon is if you think it while you're doing the avodah, while you're doing the work. Before you even slaughter the animal, it doesn't make a difference what you think. So when you're walking with the blood from where you slaughtered it till the mizbeach, if you think the wrong thought, does that mess up the carbon?
Yes.
Yes. Why? You're only walking. You need to technically walk. It's not important. It's not like the answer is yes, it is important.
It's not like sprinkling the blood, you're not doing.
But the walking itself is a mitzvah. Halachas Adam, every single stage, even if it is only, it looks like it's secondary. It looks like you're only on the way. That itself is the house. So and the Rebbe says that's why, even though the raffle is technically only a middle, the goal is not the raffle. The goal is splitting Eretz Yisroel. But the answer is no. The raffle itself is the goal. The raffle itself is the goal. That's the whole purpose, to make the raffle. Amen. So because the whole purpose is to make the raffle has to be 100% perfect. Everything has to come from the raffle itself. The raffle itself needs to be 100% perfect. Every single stage is the goal. Not only the goal. Even the way is the goal. Even when you're on the way, that's also the goal. So even though the raffle is a middle to conquer the land, it's only a way. You're only on the way to get to the goal. Nevertheless, because God commanded to make the raffle, it's a mitzvah from Hashem to make a raffle. So the raffle itself has its own shivas. The raffle itself has its own importance. It has its own status. This is the goal. Now we're focusing only on the raffle, and the raffle has to be 100% perfect. And even the side points of the raffle, for example, to clarify, to authenticate, the raffle is real and it's 100% what God, according to God's desire, and to advertise that everything needed to come from the raffle itself. Every single detail needs to be 100%, and that's why the raffle itself, needs to be the shleimus, it needs to be perfect, including the authentication that it really needs to come in the raffle itself. That's why the raffle itself was screaming and saying, I'm the raffle, I came into this, shave it to this portion of the land. Now to explain this in more depth, the Rebbe says, Sicha, Pinchas and Aleph. Rebbe explains this in more depth. The idea of conquering Eretz Yisroel is to conquer a Goyish land, Eretz Canaan, and to make it a Jewish land, a holy land. A land where you could see revealed that it belongs to the Jewish people. It belongs to God. It's a holy land. How do you do that? That's through the Yidden using out the land to fulfill the mitzvahs that you can do in Eretz Yisroel, to build over there the Beis Hamikdash, which God said you should make from your Beis Hamikdash over there. Which that's the whole purpose of the whole creation, to conquer the physical world. Like Hashem tells Adam and you should multiply and fill up the world and conquer the world. And make the world itself a dwelling place for God. Down here. A place where God is found in a revealed way. Just like a person that's found in his own house. Now, in order for this avodah of conquering should be done in the fullest sense, to really completely conquer the land fully, it needs to be done in the most complete way from the one that's being conquered and the one that's conquering. What does it mean that you're conquering the land in a complete way? You need to conquer the whole entire land. When they conquered Eretz Yisrael, they needed to conquer all 7 nations. If one part of the land, you're not going to conquer a part of the land. You're just going to let the enemies stay over there. It's not just that you conquered half or 90%, and you didn't conquer that corner over there. No. That messes up the whole entire conquering of the whole land, even if from what you conquered. Why? Because you have your enemies over there, and they can still come and fight back. You're still in danger. So that's number one. So you need to first of all conquer the whole entire land. It needs to be done complete, a complete conquering. Number one. Number two, the person that's conquering, he needs to be completely there. When will you be successful? When is it going to be a successful conquer in a way that you see that the person or the land that's being conquered was conquered, and it was completely conquered over the one that's conquering. The conqueror had a success, had a victory to conquer the place. That's going to take place when the conqueror puts his whole entire being inside conquering the land. With all of his powers, all of his faculties, his whole life, he throws it into conquering the land. Which a person that's conquering is made out of generally 3 garments: his thought, his speech, and his action. He needs to take all of that and put that into conquering the land. If a person is not going to put in his thought, speech, and action into conquering the land completely, he's only going to use his hands to go conquer the land. He's not going to make a plan how he's going to conquer the land.
Why you need speech?
To tell over to other army men, you can't conquer land yourself. If a guy wants to conquer a land, he's going to say, I'm just going to run around. I'm not going to make any plan. What, how, just shoot and whatever. He's not going to
It means communication.
That's speech. Speech is, even if he has a good plan, so he thinks how to do it, and he's going to do it, he needs to communication, right? That's dibur, to tell the other army men how to conquer. And if he's only going to think and talk, he's not going to get there. So he needs to be there fully. His thought, to make a plan, speech, to talk, to communicate with the other army men, to tell them what to do, how to do, and the action is to actually go ahead. If he's going to be missing something from his thought, speech, or action, he will not be successful in conquering the land. He's not going to conquer completely the land. And so too is it in regards to the spiritual sense of conquering the world and making the world a dwelling place, a house for God, that when you see God revealed in the world. A person you need to have, first of all, it needs to penetrate the whole entire world. The whole entire world needs to be conquered and made a house for God. You need to see how the whole entire world is completely conquered and belongs to God. It needs to be seen that the whole world, the house, every part of the house belongs to the boss of the house. Number one. And number two, the person.
Is that the wife? Oh, just a joke.
Yeah. So just like a person that's living in his house, he needs to be revealed in his house with his whole, in a revealed way. He needs to be revealed in his house, and he needs to be able to be spread out in his house, so to speak, in all aspects of the house, in his thought, speech, and action in the house, because this is his steady place. This is his house. So he needs to penetrate the whole entire house, just like by a person. If it's his house, he can't be locked up in his own house. He needs to be able to be completely open, thought, speech, and action in his house. So too is in regards to God, so to speak. To make this world a house for God, the Rebbe says the shleimus hadira, to make for a house, this world, God's house, the most complete way is when God is revealed in this world from God's thought, speech, and action in a revealed way that shows that he's the boss of the house. Which means, he said, Shleima Adira besteht in them, als kol ha-prate ha-tachtonim lashon rabim seinen Adira b'goli from the Meibishtin. So first of all, the whole entire world needs to be penetrated and permeated with God. That's number one. The whole world needs to be God's world. And God needs to be revealed in the world. And God needs to be revealed in the world with all of God's powers and faculties and garments, so to speak, which is referring to the whole Seder Ishtalshalus, the 10 Sfiris, which that is in general the thought, speech, and action. So God needs to be revealed in this world with his thought, speech, and action. Now, who's making this dwelling place for God in the world? The Jewish people. We're doing it. So it's understood that we also need to be there fully. With our thought, speech, and action, we need to be fully into our avodah of making this world a house for God. We need to be there all the way completely. So he says, in addition to this, that a person makes out of himself a house for God, through this that he serves God in action, he needs to work, he needs to make the world around him through fulfilling mitzvahs, and even doing worldly matters for the sake of God. That his whole existence, his thought, speech, and action, a person involves, a person needs to make himself completely a house for God. With his thought, speech, and action, he needs to be involved in making himself a house for God and the world around him. And like it's known, what does it mean a person needs to be there with his thought, speech, and action? It is known that the completion of fulfillment of mitzvahs is what a person puts inside it, his thought, speech, and action, which means you have the action of the mitzvah, and you have mitzvahs that are dependent in speech and action, for example, learning Torah and davening. And then you have the thought, and you have the action, let's say the give tzedakah. Then you have the thought. You have the thought, speech, and action. The thought is the kavanah, the heart, the purpose, the feelings. So every mitzvah, a person needs to fulfill it with his thought, speech, and action. He needs to have kavanah when he's doing the mitzvah. And then there's the bracha of the mitzvah that a guy says. And then there is the actual action of the mitzvah. Just 1 second before the laptop shuts off. I have 1% left. Let's plug it into the charger. Okay. You pass the laptop?
No, they've been watching. Okay,
Pass it over. Because somehow, I don't know. You have to pass it over.
We left this coffee again.
No. So we're gonna go like this.
You used to do it from
Oh, back then. Oh, you used to do it like that?
yeah, I used to do it.
Okay, let's continue. Okay. So let's say for the mitzvah of tefillin, so there's the kavanah of putting on tefillin. You have in mind to devote your heart and mind to God. Then there's the speech, it's to say the bracha, the neach tefillin. And then there's the actual action to put on the tefillin. So the Rebbe says, even though there's some mitzvahs that minadin, they're mainly action. And some mitzvahs, it's mainly speech. And other mitzvahs that are mainly thought. But nevertheless, the completion of fulfillment of mitzvahs is when a person is doing it, not only with the evidence, he's just doing it to be yotzeh. If a person wants to do it, you have mitzvahs that you can be yotzeh, shema, or whatever, davening, even if you don't know what you're saying, and you just lip service, you're still yotzeh. But that's not a complete avodah. Complete avodah is when thought, speech, and action is involved in fulfilling the mitzvah. So, then I was saying, there's tzaddikim, big people, they start differentiating which mitzvah is on the left. Is more a mitzvah that's connected to the thought, and which mitzvah is mainly connected to speech, and which mitzvah is connected to action. But they never said, we're simple, or not saying, they never say, but simple people, they don't know the difference. They don't know this mitzvah. The reason why you're doing the mitzvah is because this mitzvah is mainly a mitzvah connected to thought. We don't know all of these details. The Rebbe says a person should just put himself with his whole thought, speech, and action into every mitzvah. And through this, that a yid puts himself, he does the avodah in a complete way. He puts his whole thought, speech, and action into each mitzvah that he's doing. So he's making his whole being, he's conquering his whole being, that his whole being should be there in the mitzvah. He's making his whole being a dwelling place for God. That God should rest within the person. And whatever he's doing is with his thought, speech, and action. So whatever he's doing is also a complete way, like we said before, regarding to conquer a land. If you put your thought, speech, and action into it, it's going to be done also a complete. You're going to do a good job in conquering the land. Right.
Yeah.
And the Rebbe says in many things in this world, you can see, you see a guy does a sloppy job. You can see the guy didn't put his thought into this. A guy didn't tell the workers to do a good thing. You can see in the actions of what someone did, you can see if he put his thought, speech, and action. Did he involve his thought into it? Did he put his brain into it? Did he put his heart into it? Did he put his speech into it? Did he just think and speak and didn't do a good job? So too spiritually. You could see if a person did a complete job, and it makes a difference. And the Rebbe says, according to this, we'll understand why the raffle itself is talking. According to this, you can understand why the raffle was talking. Because even though the raffle is only something in the middle, it's only the way. It's only something to bring to something else. It's only here to lead up to something else. The purpose is not in this itself. It's something secondary. This is not the goal. The whole purpose isn't just to make a raffle for the sake of making the raffle. Nevertheless, everything needs to be done in the most complete way, as if this is the whole purpose itself. Even if it's only preparation for something else, the preparation needs to be done as if the preparation in itself is the whole purpose. And like it's known, what the Rebbe Rashab said. The Rebbe Rashab said, and how do we know? Because that's what his son, the Friedrich Rebbe, passed over the name of his father. He took over his father's place. He said, the Rebbe Rashab said that a panimi, a person that's a panimi, someone that's not a superficial person, someone that's a real person. He's a real person that is an inner person. He does stuff in a more, he puts himself into what he's doing, or a guy. You have a guy that everything is a joke, the whole life. He doesn't take anything serious. I don't know what is serious, but everything is like, guys just like nothing is like nothing matters. He's not taking anything. He's not really like taking anything to heart. A panimi, someone that is an inner person, a real person, someone that looks at things in a deeper way. He says whatever he does, whatever he's doing, he's totally focused in that specific thing that he's doing. That's what a panimi is. Now we said once there was, like we mentioned, there was once upon a break in the Rebbe Shah, and he felt that the Bacharim was singing a niggin quick. Why were they thinking it quick? Because they wanted to just finish the niggin and get to the chassidus that would be said after the niggin. So they said, who cares? Before a mimer, we sing a niggin. So they wanted to hear the mimer already. So they said, let's make it quick. The mimer. I know you sing a niggin as a preparation for a mimer, but whatever it is, and I don't know. I'm just giving an example. But they were singing the niggin before the mimer very quick. They were rushing. So the Rebbe Rashab gave a whole sif explaining that a chassid needs to be a panini, which a panini means that whatever he's doing, he needs to be there completely. Even if what he's doing is a preparation for something else, and the purpose is not in what he's doing right now, but nevertheless, he needs to be completely focused, and he needs to be completely in what he's doing right now, even though it doesn't make a difference what it is, he needs to be there completely. Even if it's only an introduction for something else, he needs to be completely in there. Why? Because if a person is not going to be completely in the introduction, what does that mean in other words? That a person is not living in the moment. He's living with something else. Instead of living in the here and the now, he's thinking about what's going to be later. So when it's going to come to the actual mimer that's going to be said later, instead of him being focused in the mimer, he's going to be thinking about what's going to come after the mimer. And then after the mimer, when it comes to that thing, he's going to meet someone else. So basically, the person is flying all over the place, and he's not living in anything. He's not actually experiencing any experience. When it comes to Pesach, so the guy is saying, "Oh, soon Shavuos is coming up," and then on Shavuos, he's thinking about I don't know what.
אפילו אם הוא נמצא, כמו שאומר פה בסדר, אם הוא לא נמצא כולו, זה לא פנימי. יכול להיות שהוא נמצא שם, אם הוא לא נמצא כולו, לגמרי, זה חסר בפנימי. דוגמה, כמה הניגון. אני לא אומר שהניגונים לא שרו, הם קיימו את הניגון, כי יש לי עניין לנגן ניגון. הניגון לא היה כמו שהניגון צריך להיות בפני עצמו. אני לא חושב שהוא היה כדי כך טיפשי.
About a Highlander hate.
Highlander זה לא מה שאתה אומר, Highlander זה, זאת אומרת, יחס לניגון עצמו, כשאתה נגד את הניגון עצמו, זה היה במהירות. אני עכשיו אומר שאחת בפסח חשוב על פסח, לא, אבל חשוב על פסח, אבל אם הוא לא לגמרי בפסח, אז עם כל כוח נפשי, זה לא פנימי.
אתה אומר עוד יותר חזק.
אני אומר שזה לכאורה הפירוט. אומרים על מנטליק, שומע? שהיה דואג לבחורים ערב פסח, אז אומרים, היה דואג לבגדים, לדברים, אז אומרים שהוא כל כולו, ככה פעם הגדירו את כולו, למרות שזה בגדים ודברים, היה כל כך בפנים, אני אומר, אנשים נתנו דוגמה, זה פנימי, זה לא משהו נוסף. פעם הבחורים שברו את החדר האוכל שם, כמו בחורים עושים ורצו, אז מה הוא דאג? הוא דאג, בזמן שהלך, הוא דאג, צריכים להביא להם כסף לכל אחד, איזה סכום כסף, שיהיה להם מה לקנות אוכל.
וואו.
זאת אומרת, הוא חושב על העניין, הוא לא חושב בגלל זה שהם שמרו, אז אני עושה כך. המצב...
בכל דבר צריך לקבל את השיא הריכוז.
הוא היה באמצע, המוכרים אמרו שהוא באמצע לדאוג לבגדים, כולו שמה.
Right. So he says,
ככה אני מבין את זה.
yeah, he says that Iker Godel, it's a very important, essential, big, important, essential concept. That what? As woman is, Zolman Zayn mit an Emes. Wherever you are, you need to be there for real. They say that the Rebbe once said by Farbrengen, L'chaim, he's saying L'chaim, to everyone that's here, but they didn't come yet, and all of those that came, but they're not here. אני אומר את זה באנגלית, לא ביידיש. לכן בעלים זה אני angekommen und ich da.
אבל מה היה סיפור? אתה גם לא יודעת. אחד היה שרצה להגיע לרבי. אז כתב לרבי שרצה להגיע. בימים ההם זה היה, מי שהגיע מארץ לרבי, זה היה כמה משכורות ותשלומים, וזה לא היה כמו היום, חלק מסוים מהמשכורת החודשית. אז הוא רוצה לבוא, אז הרב כתב לו שיותר טוב שייתן את הכסף אצלו. זה לא היה חוכמה. בוא, הרב צריך לבוא, אז הוא לקח את הסכום כסף כבר מצלו, כן? לקח עוד סכום כסף ועוד כרטיס. קיים את שתי הדברים. היה פול. הוא אמר, לחיים לאלו שרוצים להיות פה, כדי שעוד אנשים רוצים להיות פה, ולא נמצאים. אבל הוא אמר, לחיים ואלו שנמצאים ועדיין לא הגיעו. משהו כזה.
So he's saying a whole different way. Okay, very interesting.
אבל זה סיפור, שזה סיפרתי לפרטים.
He said that the people that wanted to come to the Rebbe, and the Rebbe said, instead of spending so much money, you should give the money to the Stucker. Yeah, then the tickets were very expensive. So what did the guy do? He was smart boy. So he gave that amount of money to the Stucker, and he bought a ticket. Then he came to the Rebbe, to the Rebbe Fabri, and he told the Rebbe, said he thinks it was Purim, and he told the Rebbe, L'chaim, I told the Rebbe, L'chaim for all of those that want to be here, but they're not here yet. Like they couldn't come. He said L'chaim for them. So the Rebbe told him, L'chaim, answered him, L'chaim for those that are here, and they still didn't come yet. Which means there's people that are here physically, but they're not here. Mentally.
Somewhere else.
And then there's those that are here mentally, but they're not here yet, physically. But basically, there's a similar story with the Rebbe Rashab that the guy was down in Shemona Esrei. And when he finished Shemona Esrei, maybe I'm messing up the exact details of the story, but generally, the Rebbe Rashab told him, welcome back from the marketplace. So basically, what was his Shemona Esrei? He was thinking about this store and this business and this and that. So basically, where was he? He was in the marketplace. That's what his Shemona, that's what his head was. Well, they say that Rebbe Rashab also told the person, I saw people that wear boots on their feet. And I never saw people that wear boots on their heads. Basically, his head was like was thinking about his business. Galoshes, right? So that's what he was busy. So basically, the Rebbe Rashab is saying that a person, wherever you are, you need to be there for real. Vume is far from Zion. Wherever you are, you have to be there. Okay. He's quoting with Tut. Kol Zman ich tu das, darf es sein da. Darf es da sein.
מתעסק בבגדים, הוא היה כאילו הוא נותן לו שפשור. זה היה פלא עליו. לא, אתה מתעסק בבגדים, אתה עושה את זה כאילו החיה, לא. היה עם כל כולו, כל כולו היה, אתה צריך את זה, וצריך את זה, הוא חי את הדבר.
Right.
זה אמרו עליו שהוא פנימי, שהוא גם חי את זה.
Yeah. He's saying the Rosh Yeshiva of 770, his name was Rabbi Mordechai Mentlik. Yeah, he used to pour for the Rebbe, he used to fill up the Rebbe's cup of wine by every break until it was nifter. By every break, by Kosher Bracha, he used to add cup to the Rebbe's wine to the Rebbe's cup. Now he was a Rosh Yeshiva, was a learned person. His head was into learning. And what would you think? So Erev Pesach would help the Bachar have clothes. So you would think the guy would be like, okay, here, take some money, and have a nice day. I want to go continue learning now. Like, not think.
Just do it.
Think. Talk about it. Be involved to make it as if it's his project now. When he's giving a Gemara shir, so that's his whole life. So I can understand that he's thinking and deep and getting into it and getting deeper and deeper. But getting food or clothes, what size pants, what color pants, what company pants, do you have enough pairs of pants, his shirt, what size, what this, what that. He put himself into it completely. And this is what he's in now. His business now is, what's his occupation now? He was completely into the clothes of the market. He wanted to be the best. He wasn't doing it as like, really, he was like flying in the air and he wasn't there. He wasn't focused in it completely. No. It was completely focused and totally focused and into dealing with the clothes for the Bachar, as if this is what his whole life is. Clothes for Bachar. That's what you saw him, and he's saying that's what, right. So they you said name is right. Mordechai Mentlik. So the Rebbe Mentlik. So he was saying, people brought out of that an example of this, what he's saying to be a Pnimi. Someone that's not just Pnimi, is someone that wherever he is, he's there all the way. So if he wouldn't be a Pnimi, so he would, he's into his learning. Okay, I has to deal with food, with clothes for Bachrim. So he wouldn't be there all the way. He would be like, okay, you know what, each Bachar take some money and go do whatever you want, and I don't care, let me continue learning whatever. No. He was totally in the clothes for the Bachrim, as if this is what his business is. And people was like, that's a Pnimi. That he's now what is he busy with? He's busy with the Bachrim. So he's not a Rosh Yeshiva anymore, and he's not he's taking care of clothes for Bachrim. That's what's going on. That's what's on his head. This is what the Rebbe Hashem says. As long as I'm here, I need to be here all the way. When I'm going to come to a second thing, to something else, which even the first thing that I did was only preparation for this, then I'm going to be in this. But now I'm not there yet. Now I'm in the preparation. I'm in the preparation for it. When I get to there, I'm going to be there for it. To do every single thing the complete way, which the Rebbe brings down over here, interestingly, the famous story, maybe we mentioned it over here, the Rebbe, by the 20th yard site of his father-in-law, the Rebbe is on that side to the footnote, he finished the Sefer Torah. The Frierdiker Rebbe during the Holocaust said they should make a Sefer Torah. We're going to greet Mashiach with the Sefer Torah, and he wants all the Jewish people to be a part of it. It should be all the Yidden are getting ready for Mashiach.
Finished on my birthday.
Tes Shvat, or your English?
My English. Well, no, it was in between both, I think.
You finished Tes Shvat, your birthday is Chof Tes Tevis, he said.
It's
maybe by your bris.
29th of Tevis. Yeah, my bris.
Exactly. It's the day of your bris.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes what's that? Right.
It's my bris.
Your bris.
There's a mimer. He did a mimer on that.
Right. He said a mimer, right? We'll have an in the Sefer Torah. So that, and it's interesting. The Rebbe said that for years they didn't finish it. It was just like waiting around. And then a group of women in Eretz Yisroel, like a committee or whatever, they sent the Rebbe a letter and they're like, whatever happened with that. The Rebbe said, I was waiting for it to come from the people. The Rebbe could have just said, okay, that's for them. But the Rebbe was waiting. The Rebbe said he was waiting. Right. And this is what the Rebbe brought out. And the Frierdiker Rebbe could have written the Sefer Torah by himself, but he didn't want to write it by himself. He wanted to involve all the Jewish people. Just like Moshe Rabbeinu, when he built the Mishkan, he could have done it by himself, but he wanted to involve all the Jewish people. And that's why the Rebbe didn't just make it come from above and say, okay, we're finishing it. He wanted it to come from, he was waiting for it to come from the people, that people should,
But he paid for it all himself, I've heard.
in the end,
Yeah, he
Why-
paid for it himself, but then the people gave him money, but he paid for it first himself.
רק
Previous
הקטע
Rebbe.
הזה.
Yes. Yes, he did.
אבל הרב אמר הפוך, רצה
the
שכל
Rebbe,
אחד
no, he
ישתתף.
wanted everyone to participate.
Yes,
He
but
wanted everyone to give
first,
$1.
but first he paid for it, and then he had people come and give dollars. Afterwards, after he paid for himself. You want people paying for it before he paid. This is-
I don't know. I have to, because what I remember is that he wanted, like I said before, that it says he wanted everyone to participate. I'm not sure what we're like,
I could be wrong, but that's what I remember.
where are you,
I
like the
thought it was
crown?
strange because
So
of
the
that.
crown, the Rebbe, no, because the
For me,
Rebbe,
the Mishnah to
right
participate
right
means
after-
either
right
or
after the
cases.
first
So
Bible
it's a different way of
right after the first minor of the Rebbe, Basilagani, the Rebbe said, right after the first minor, the Rebbe said that when the Friedrich had ever made the Seder Torah for Mashiach, he could have done it by himself, but he didn't want to do it by himself. He wanted everyone to participate. The Rebbe said the Mishkan wanted everyone to participate. So what you're saying, I never heard. I know that the crown for the Seder Torah, the Rebbe bought by himself.
Well, maybe that's
That the Rebbe called the night before or 2 days before Sidney Hecht from, he had a store in Flatbush, and he brought 3 crowns, and the Rebbe picked the crown that he wanted, and the Rebbe said to take a half of this crown and combine it with this crown. The Rebbe wanted to make some combination, and the Rebbe, and then when the Rebbe came, no one knew what was in the box. The Rebbe came to the box, no one knew. It was very, and then the Rebbe took out this beautiful crown. The first time, I think the first Sefer Torah in 770 that had a crown, it was like something very special.
זה היה הראשון.
Kaka Shabati Bikam Anashim. And on the crown, if you see, interestingly, there's little deers.
That was the
There's
first
little
round.
teeny deers. Oh,
Deers.
Deers. Deers. 3. See, yeah, deers. Little. That's 3. 3 Hirsch. 3 Hirsch all over it. And I thought, why is there deers on the crown of the Sefer Torah for Shiach? So it says Doime Doidi Litzvi. It says in Shirashiri that Doidi
איפה יש? על הקטע
על
הצבאי?
הכתר עצמו, יש צבעים קטנים. It says, my beloved one is compared to a deer. And it says, Doime Doidi Litzvi, Zeh Malach HaMashiach. It says, this is referring to Mashiach.
זה המלך המשיח.
Yeah, Doime Doidi Litzvi, called Doidi, Hine Zeh Malach HaMashiach. That's what it says in the Medrash on the
אבל למה
pasuk.
דוידי דבר אצלי?
So why is that? So why is Mashiach a bit of this? So it says, the Medrash explains that just like a deer moves very fast, and you don't see it the whole time. You see it, and because it's moving, it's covered, and then you see it again. Hirsch. That's your father's name, right? Hirsch. 3 Hirsch. So you see it, it gets concealed, and you see it again.
מה זה כוסיר? בגלל שבורח?
Okay, well, because it's moving fast, you see it, you don't see it, you see it. So it says, so too, Mashiach reveals himself, he conceals himself, and he reveals himself again. The Medrash,
How does Svi Hirsch relate to that? I don't know.
Zvi is the name in Lashon
It's a
HaKodesh,
wolf or deer.
and of a deer, and Hirsch
Ah.
is in Yiddish.
There's also deer.
Yeah, just like
Oh.
Doiv Ben. Doiv is a bear,
Bear.
and then you say Doiv,
Yeah.
then you say the translation. So it's Zvi, Hirsch. That's why many people say Tzvi Hirsch. Herschel. Their name is Tzvi.
זה study English.
Yeah. So Tzvi is the name in Lashon HaKodesh, and Hirsch is the translation in Yiddish.
Just like the name for the lion, same thing.
Ayulay. Right, exactly. So there's many names, and you say both. Correct. Like that was brother, Ayulay. So Ayulay. So Mashiach, the Medrash says, first opinion says it's Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Rabbeinu is this beloved one, Doidi, and he's compared to a deer. That's what the Medrash. The pasuk says, Doime Doidi Litzvi. My beloved one is like a deer, which Doidi is first opinion it's Moshe. Second opinion is Mashiach. Moshe says Moshe Rabbeinu came to Mitzrayim. He told him, "You're going out of Mitzrayim." And then he left. He went to Midian. He went to his father. He went on the shidduch. He ran away because doesn't have a tattletale on it. So he had to run away, and then he came back. So he revealed, he saw them, he spoke to them, he left, and then he came back. So too, it says Mashiach is the same thing. He's going to reveal himself, conceal himself, and reveal himself again.
Which son of Yaakov was fast as a deer? Was it Zebulun?
Naphtali, Ayola, Shluch.
Naphtali. That was it.
Naphtali. And so the point is, yes, I'm just saying I saw this a while ago, but last night I saw a picture of the crown again, and I just remember I zoomed in. I zoomed into the crowd and you see the little deers. Okay, we're getting a little off track or whatever. So basically, for the 20th yard side of the Frida Rebbe, many people came. I heard a whole charter plane was loaded with Chassidim. They came to be there by the sea of the Sefer Torah, the Kamal Fnei Mashiach. And the flight back was on Chav Shabbat, the 20th of Shabbat. Everyone was going to go back to Eretz Yisroel. Now that day of the flight, a few hours before, the Rebbe decided, by surprise, he's making a Farbrengen. So everyone came to 770 for the Farbrengen. Yes, and there are flights in a few hours, and the Rebbe's Farbrengen. And everyone has answered their pants because they don't want to miss their flight. Maybe the Rebbe's going to start the Farbrengen now for 5 hours and this. And what are they going to do? They're going to walk out in the middle? And the whole Farbrengen, people are looking at the watch and looking at each other, and everyone's like, you can see that no one's there. Everyone's like out of it. So the Rebbe said then a story that he was with his father-in-law once, escaping from Russia, escaping somewhere from the communists, and they were waiting for a train. They're waiting for the next train, and while they were waiting for the train, the Rebbe said he saw his father-in-law with a sefer learning, and he was reading the sefer, and he was learning a sefer that it's a very, very deep sefer, and you need a lot of peace of mind to like really understand what's flying. It's not like reading Tehillim or reading some like easy text. It's like something really, really you need to have a lot of peace and tranquility and be able to focus and whatever. And the Rebbe said he sees his father while waiting for the train. They're after him, and so he says a regular person would be, his heart would be pumping a number, I don't know what, and palpitation or whatever the word is, and no focus, no nothing. And as it is, a guy has a regular plane, he's already running around, walking here to there, doesn't know. Here he's like running for his life, and he's sitting down over there learning as if nothing exists in the world. So the Rebbe said that he was overwhelmed. Even the Rebbe said it was shocked to see such a thing. And he told his father-in-law, it's like to such an extent you have so much control over your heart, and you have how can you have such a peace of mind? You can just sit down and nothing exists. You can sit and learn this deep thing, and you're not worried, you have no pressure, you have nothing. So the Rebbe Rayatz told the Rebbe that this is called Hatzlocha B'Zman, success in time success, or they call it time management. The literal words is to be successful with his time. And the Rebbe said then that the Frierdiker Rebbe told him that I think the Rashba was a doctor, which he would take patients every day. He's a doctor of the city, community, whatever. He take patients every day. He was also the Rav of the city. He's also taking people to answer them questions. People used to also write him questions, and you need to write back answers and send them back to them. He also wrote a commentary on the Gemara, the Rashba. Chedush Rashba is a set on the Gemara on Shas. He used to also give a Gemara shir every day, and you need to prepare the shir. And he also took a walk, and maybe a whole bunch of other things. And the question is, how could someone do so many things? To do this and this and this and this and this and this. There's so many things. So he answered, how was he successful? Because that's Tzlachim B'Zman. So when he was taking patients, the only thing that existed in the world was the patients that were here right now that he was accepting them. He wasn't thinking about his Gemara shir. He wasn't thinking about answering people's questions. It wasn't. Now, only thing in the world that exists is the patience that is accepted. כן. I mean, הרב הביא את הסיפור הזה, ואמר.
זה אני יודע, אבל הלב אומר שהוא לא חשב על גמור בזמן הפסח.
He was he was totally there. When he was giving a Gemara shir, he was totally in the shir. When he was preparing for the shir, he was totally prepared. When he was writing someone an answer, he was totally writing someone an answer. It wasn't when someone was coming to ask him a question, and Allah, he was totally with that person. He wasn't all over the place. He wasn't saying, "Oh, I have to give a shir today, and I have to give patience, and I have to do this, and I have to do that." And blah, 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 blah. So how can I be doing this now? No, he wasn't making a whole salad in his head that he has to do this and that. He wasn't thinking about anything. Now he's thinking all about this. When it came to the next thing, he only thought about the next thing. It's interesting. You see by dollars how people walk by. כן. אמרנו שהוא הצורך בזמן, זה מה שהרבי הזכיר. פה הרבי מזכיר פנימי ומקשר את זה, הרבי מביא את זה פה. בחוב שורתיו של מעמד, אני לא יודע, אני צריך להסתכל, אבל זה אני יודע. So, by dollars, you see, a guy comes by, he speaks to the Rebbe in Russian, and he asks a question in Russian, and what should he do? And the Rebbe like answers him. Then the guy comes, he speaks to them in Hebrew, some political guy in the Knesset, and what should he do? And the Rebbe answers him. He wants to know what should he speak in Washington to tell the president, and the Rebbe tells him what to say. Then some little girl goes by, the Rebbe says, I have bad dreams, and now what should I do? And the Rebbe tells her, to check the mezuzahs. When the Rebbe was speaking to the little girl, the Rebbe wasn't thinking about the guy from the Knesset that he told him that, and he wasn't thinking about the Russian guy that was asking the bracha for a shidduch. And you could just imagine, you have like a million, but you had like literally from 1 o'clock till 7 o'clock, like thousands of people, and it's like this. 2 seconds. This, the next guy, the next.
שמעתי פעם לפני שנים פרופסור גדול שגר הרבי, הוא היה בהתוועדות, לא יודע במה היה, אז הוא רואה את הרבי, שבדרך כלל אדם רגיל, יש לו בין עשייה לעשייה, יש לו מרווח זמן, שהוא עובר מדבר לדבר. אצל הרבי, זה לקח זמן. אצל הרבי, כמו שאומר, הצלוח מזמן, הוא דיבר בסוגר שלו, אצל הרבי, אין כזה דבר בין לבין. זה עכשיו וזה. זאת אומרת, הוא התפלא, הוא היה אדם מלומד, שהוא התפלא על הדבר הזה.
So he's saying there's a professor that came to Fabrenga to them, and he says generally a person, he's in a certain mode, and then when he has to go to something else, he has to like zoom out from this mode and change himself, and move to the next mode. He can't instantly move from here to there.
Right.
And he said he saw this is a professor. He said it was there and he saw how the Rebbe is like totally in one mode, and then totally in a different mode. Like he was able to move, and that you see by dollars, it's crazy. Like it's not even like just usually by Gem and all these videos, they don't show you a full hour of dollars. They show you this what they want to show you. But if you just sit and watch, and he's like Russian, Spanish, a Rav, a Rebbe, some guy from the road, a little girl, this, and the Rebbe's like, yeah, so what's with your cipher that I told you to print? It's like you printed the cipher. It's like he's keeping track of every city. It's like so quick, but he's with each person, all the way.
So I'm thinking in a way, because he has, of course, Rosh Hashanah, maybe when he has a break, he has not much of a break, he's probably thinking what he's going to do with people down the line. Maybe he already has it in his head, you know what I mean? Before they get there.
He already knows what he's going to do because of the Rosh Hashanah.
Yeah, I don't know, that's just a thought.
Rosh Hashanah.
How else could
The Rebbe for sure had the Rosh Hashanah.
How else could he do it?
Yeah. But whatever it is, each person was all the way there. I remember, like I said, imagine like my father walked by, And the Rebbe tells him on his own, yes, this is for the lottery. Like, there's thousands of people going by.
Did your father always play the lottery or wanted to play the lottery?
Yeah.
I think you need to be about them, maybe going to be.
But did he ever tell the Rebbe that he wanted to play the lottery?
Yeah. He did.
Ah,
But my point is, the Rebbe is keeping track from every single person that goes by. This guy's going by, so the Rebbe says, okay, to this guy, he plays the lottery,
yeah.
and he wants to win the lottery. So the Rebbe says on his own, this is for the lottery. Now some other guy goes by that could be into, I don't know what, and the Rebbe also tells him something. It's like, whatever, I'm just saying it's yeah, so back to that thing, the Rebbe is saying that Rajba, wherever he was there completely. And that's why he was able to be successful in whatever he was doing, in so many things. Because he wasn't doing so many things. He was doing only one thing at a time. Now he was doing this, later he was doing that. It's like if you're going to look at the whole thing, so the guy's doing 50 things a day. But at 1 o'clock, he's doing only one thing. And at 1:10, he's only doing one thing. At 1:20, he's doing only one thing.
So he had more separation than the Rebbe with dollars.
Who? What? The Rashba, right. But the point is, the Rebbe said that his father-in-law told him, right now, I'm sitting over here. The train's not here yet. Nothing else exists. Right now, this is what exists. And he let go of everything. And the Rebbe said then also to everyone over there by the Fabrengen, like right now, you're here by the Fabrengen. You're here now, so you got to be here. People are thinking about the airport, they're thinking about all over the place, and they're not living in the moment. The Rebbe said, especially according to Chassidus, that God. Yeah. Right. Now, right. So the Rebbe made this Fabrengen for these guests. The Rebbe was like thanking them for coming. So it wasn't like they were also in the crowd.
Yeah.
So let's say you have a few guys that they're all over the place, which was troubling. There was always one Fabrengen. So I don't think every single maybe. But the Rebbe himself said that one of the things that I would complain was not everyone was there. You had people cropping, sleeping well if I'm bringing. You had people, whatever, who knows what, in their own things. But here, the Rebbe is making it for them. That's what's on the table, and they need to be there. They can't be all over the place. So the Rebbe said, and Chassidus says that God creates the whole world every single second. So the world that's going to be created in an hour from now or in 5 minutes doesn't exist. God didn't create that world yet. So it doesn't exist. So their flight and the airport and the plane and everything is going to be in another 2 hours.
Mm-hmm.
So that doesn't exist yet. 2 hours from now doesn't exist. So they never said that there's no airport. The airport doesn't exist. The plane doesn't exist. The only thing that exists is where you are here right now, this second. And that's where a person needs to be completely focused in the moment. And the Rebbe is saying this is why this is the purpose of the miracle that the raffle itself is talking. Just like the avoid of conquering the land needs to be done complete with your thoughts, speech, and action, so too the preparation for conquering the land, which is done through the raffle, needs to be done in the most complete way. Even though the raffle is only introduction, it's only to get up to splitting the land, conquering the land, settling in the land. Nevertheless, the raffle itself is important. The raffle itself needs to be complete. And therefore, the raffle itself needed to be done in the most complete way. The raffle itself needed to accomplish the whole splitting of land. Everything needed to come from the raffle. It needed to clarify and authenticate the authenticity and the authenticity of the raffle. And it really needs to come all from the raffle itself. That's where the raffle itself is. That's another question. Yeah. עוד שאלה, חשבתי אותו שאלה. And the Rebbe says this, completion of the raffle is brought out, that in the raffle itself, interestingly, the Rebbe says there was thought, speech, and action. There was the action of the raffle. That's the actual pieces of paper with the names and the pieces of land. So that's the action. Then there is the thought of the raffle, why we're doing the raffle. And the raffle was done on Piruach HaKodesh. I think the machshava is the Urim and Tumim. That's what the Arin was. Zaya machshava, there's that. No, and then there is the dibur, the speech. What's the speech that the raffle was talking? That's what the Rebbe says. There was thought, speech, and action within the raffle itself.
Did the raffle himself have kavana?
So that's what we're going to need to say. The raffle itself was speaking. That's what it says. The raffle spoke.
I know he spoke. Did he have kavana?
So it's seemingly, yeah. So the completion of the splitting of the land, everything was done through the raffle. The raffle itself, only the raffle, nothing else got involved. So besides for the actual making the raffle and the purpose, why you're making the raffle, that's the machshava. Why are you doing it? Like what's going on over here? You're picking up. That's the machshava. You needed to also have dibur, that the raffle was screaming and saying on the raffle. And now there's no doubt if it's real or not. And the Rebbe says, why was the miracle brought out in speech? That the raffle was screamed. It says the raffle had a mouth. And not, why wasn't there some type of a miracle in the thought or action? It says the Rebbe, because in order to make a raffle, you're forced to have thought and action. You need to have to make the actual raffle, and you need to know what you're doing. That you're forced to do. But to Evan Aboichin, where do you have? What is the stage? Evan Aboichin, the thing that tests to see if the raffle is done in the most complete way. That is brought out in speech. The Rebbe says. What brings out a guy can make a raffle without a raffle talking. You're making the raffle, you're doing it, and you're thinking what you want to do. What's going to clarify that it's 100% real, that it's full, that it's complete, that it's perfect? That's brought out in the speech also, that there's thought, speech, and action. The raffle, when the raffle spoke, this brought out to authenticate and clarify completely that it's real. And that this brought out the thought, speech, and action also within the raffle itself. And so too is in a person's avodah, and a personal person. And every single person in his own personal avodah, that where do you see, what proves to me that a person's completely there? Someone's completely into whatever he's doing, the Rebbe says, that's when the person talks about it. If a guy, let's say, really believes that Mashiach is coming, it's not going to stay in his thought and action, it's going to be brought out in his speech, which the Rebbe says speech symbolizes on affecting someone else. You're going to talk about it and tell it to someone else. If something permeates you for real, if you're a panini, if someone's really there, he's really in it, it's going to be brought out in talking. It's the revelation of being a panini is brought out in speech, that Rebbe says. The Rebbe Rashab says why someone needs to be completely into whatever he's doing. He gives two reasons. First of all, that shows on truth that something is real. That it's a real thing. So if it's real and you're really there, you got to be there all the way. And he says, when you're going to do the introduction in a real way, in a complete way, that's going to cause that when it comes to the actual thing itself, you're going to do it in a complete way. If you're doing a real good preparation, the more you're going to be focused on the preparation, and you're not going to rush. then when it comes to the actual thing itself, you're going to do it in a more complete way and in a more all the way completely. And the Rebbe says, because God made it in such a way that naturally, before you come to something itself, you have to go through some type of a preparation and an introduction or sunrise. You have to go through several preparations in order for the world, person and the world, they should be used to the thing. Like Chassidus says, a person should be a kli, a vessel, to be able to handle the light of to be a kli, a vessel, to handle the light of the giver. Therefore, the introduction, the preparation of the introduction itself is very important in order for the person that he should be able to really accept in an inner way and internalize the light that's coming down. Therefore, the introduction and the preparation is very important. If a person is just going to rush through the introduction and the preparation, and he's not going to really prepare himself, when it comes to the thing itself, he's not going to be able to handle it because he didn't prepare himself correctly. He just rushed through the preparation. So the preparation and the introduction affects the thing itself. So that's why the introduction and the preparation is as important as the thing itself. Because if the preparation won't be done to the fullest extent, a person is going to be missing the thing itself when it comes. And then I was said, just like education, to educate someone. You can't expect someone, okay, so he's 13 years old, but he's mechuyev mitzvahs, so let him act like a guy until the age of 13, who cares? Now when he's 13, you're going to say, okay, you can be Jewish, but I'm filling the guy he's not going to do nothing. If you want, when it comes to the thing itself, he's not obligated to do mitzvahs till the age of 13, but there's a chiyuv of chinuch, there's an obligation of education. You have to educate him. Because that's going to make sure that when it comes to the time itself, he's going to do what he needs to do. If you educate him good and you invest in the education, that he should be penetrated and permeated with God and Torah and mitzvahs, when it comes 13, he's going to do what he needs to do correctly. That's why chinuch has a very essential and important focus and emphasis. And when the Rebbe says, sometimes in Chassidus, chinuch or Torah in general, to a certain extent, chinuch is even higher than the mitzvah itself. A person needs to put himself all the way into the chinuch, because that creates the what's going to be later. And in more depth, the Rebbe says, because the whole purpose of making a dwelling place for God down here in this world is one desire of God. God is one, and His desire is one. And God creates every single thing in this world from His essence. Every single piece of this world, whatever it is made from God Himself. So to fulfill this one purpose of God is when everything is involved. There's nothing separated and outside. God is one. So you can't split things to two. So when you're dealing even with preparations, because God made the preparation, God's in there, so God's in the preparation, God's in the introduction, God is in the thing that's leading to something else. So you got to be there all the way, because this is all part of God's desire. It's like, what does it make a difference between this and that? God wants me to do this, I have to do this. God wants me to do that, I got to do that. So every single thing in the world needs to be done to the fullest extent, even if it looks like secondary and only introduction. God's in everything. God's everywhere. God's here right now in this moment. You got to be there fully with God. God's in it. So that makes that thing itself, which is introduction, real. This is the whole purpose. This has a reason. So therefore, whatever you do, you need to be done into the fullest extent. Because God is here. God wants this. God is one. So just like God wants you to do the goal, God wants you to do the middle pathway that's reaching to the goal. So that also needs to be done to the fullest. God is not, you can't break up God to pieces and say, that's the main thing, and this is not the main thing. Everything is what God wants. God is in everything, here and now. So this needs to be done to the fullest extent, here and now, because God is here also, in this action also. And the way you do it now, that's going to affect the next step also. And the Rebbe says in more detail, this is also in regards to thought, speech, and action themselves. Thought and speech is a preparation and an introduction for action, which action is the most important thing, like it says in Yisroel. But even though thought and speech is only preparation for the action, nevertheless, only through investing thought, investing in the speech, then that's going to make the action be a better action. Action is based over the thought and the speech. So even though our mindset action is the most important, but because they create and make the thought and speech make the action be a greater and better action, they become important. You need to invest in thought and speech. Just like it's in regards to the whole entire Seder Ishtalshalos, the whole entire order of worlds. Through the avoid and making dwelling place for God down even the lowest of the lowest in the action, that fulfills the whole purpose for all the higher worlds. And that elevates all the higher worlds. But this world is made and based off of the higher worlds. So in order for there to be Olam HaMaaseh, you need to have Atzilus, you need to have Bria, you need to have Yitzira, and then comes Asiyah. You can't just have Olam HaAsiyah with nothing before it. But through the Avodah in Olam HaAsiyah, after and based off of, founded off of the higher worlds, this elevates and reveals the koyach of the Eibishter in all the higher worlds also. This world will bring out light God in the higher worlds also. But you cannot have these higher lights. It comes through down here. So on one hand, thought, speech creates action and brings the action. And that and the action elevates the thought and the speech to make them reach to a much higher level. So the Rebbe says, according to this, we can understand what's the lesson for us now. When we're in this time, in this place, in God is still the last seconds of God. So according to what the Tzemach Tzedek said, so that specific Jew that wanted to go move to Eretz Yisroel and live there and penetrate his time learning Torah and serving God. So what did the Tzemach Tzedek tell? Make here Eretz Yisroel. Then it says, even though over here is outside of Eretz Yisroel, it's not Eretz Yisroel. And I avoided now outside of Eretz Yisroel, and in the time of Galus is only a preparation for the completion of the service of God that's going to be in the true and ultimate redemption, which is going to be in Eretz Yisrael. And we daven for this to take place every day. Nevertheless, because we're here in Galus now, here and now in Galus, and outside of Eretz Yisrael, is not by chance, God forbid, Chas v'Shalom. Rather, it's by divine providence. God put us here in Galus, here and now in Galus. So there's a purpose in this itself. And God is not asking for us to do something that we can't do. So where we are here and now has a purpose. There's a purpose, there's a reason in being in this and this place, in the place where we are now, and in the time that we are now in Galus. And the Rebbe says that doing the avodah here is similar to what's going to be later in Eretz Yisrael, which doing the avodah now, here and now, in the most complete way is a preparation. So there's some type of avodah we could do here and now to make here and now Eretz Yisrael. And the Rebbe said, a Jew needs to do his avodah service of God here, wherever he is, in this place, on this time, to the most complete, the most complete level and way possible, according to all of his powers and possibilities that he could do in the here and now, the way he's still involved as a second before the ruler, with his full thought, speech, and action, like a panimi, that he's totally involved. He's sunk in to do his avodah the way he is here and now, and he doesn't think while he's doing one thing about something that's going to be later. So what's the avodah? What does a person need to do his avodah now? What's the avodah to do here and now? The Rebbe says to make here and now a house for God to be revealed. And in the words of the Tzemach Tzedek, make here Eretz Yisroel. To make this specific place wherever you are, and this specific time and wherever you are, to make that Eretz Yisroel a place and time where is revealed God, Judaism, Yiddishkeit. Because a Jew, is a Yid, wherever he is, at any time he is, he has the power. What's Eretz Yisroel? Eretz Yisroel, a Jewish land. So wherever you are, you're Yisroel. So wherever you are, you need to make that place Eretz Yisroel. What does it mean, Eretz Yisroel? A place where you see that this is a Jewish place. This is a place where belongs to the Jewish people. A Jew has a power to make wherever he is that place that should be like Eretz Yisroel, and especially through the shuls and the Bati Medrash outside of Eretz Yisroel that make that area look, that make that place Eretz Yisroel. And even more than that, the Rebbe says. Through a person doing his avodah now, in the most complete way, the way he's here, in the place and in the time of Godus. He does his avodah now in the most complete way. He's not thinking, okay, Mashiach has come, who cares? Blah, 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 let's just make it chaplap. We don't need to focus on the here and the now. No, it's just through a person doing his avodah now in the most complete way, in this place and this time, a person's meliktim that avodah ganzen the person is totally consumed in his avodah that he needs to do here and now with his thought, speech, and action. The Rebbe says this itself makes him used to, and this will bring him to the Geula, which that's why he's doing his avodah here. That's going to make the avodah take place in Eretz Yisroel, literally, the true and ultimate redemption. Through a guy focusing on his avodah to do it completely, perfectly, here and now, the way it's in Golus, this will make him do the avodah in the most complete way, the way it's going to be in the Geula. Just like we said earlier, when a person is going to be totally into, which this is going to bring the Geula. When a person is going to do his avodah now in the most complete way, that's going to bring the Geula. But then in the Geula, he's also going to do his avodah in the most complete way. Like it says, the mitzvahs that we do now are signs that when we're going to come back to do it, it will not be something new. Which means when a person is going to do his avodah now to the fullest, here and now, that's going to bring the Geula. When then we're going to do avodah to the fullest. If a guy's not going to do his avodah now, chas v'shalom, then it doesn't say the negativity. But you want to get used to the Geula, that means to be a complete person, to live in the moment completely, thought, speech, and action. That's going to bring the Geula, because you're doing your avodah in a complete way. And then we're going to do our avodah completely in the Geula, with our full thought, speech, and action in whatever we're doing in the Geula. So that means especially that when we're speaking now about preparing for the true and ultimate redemption, which, what does it mean? Geula ha'amitis v'ashlema. True, ultimate, complete. So the redemption is, as its name, the Rebbe says, it's something real and complete. What does that mean? It's real. That to be Gula means to be fully, that it's something complete. The gula that we're having is not a half-baked gula. This is not a half a gula. This is not like a chaplam gula. This is a complete gula, a perfect gula, a real gula. So too, we want to prepare for such a thing. So we need to be real and complete people in whatever we're doing. Right, so that's how we get used to the Geula. When we're real and complete, this is making us ready for the real, complete redemption. So if this is understood, now what makes the Geula be a complete redemption? The Geula is the revelation of the completion of every single thing in the world. And the Geula, even things that are an introduction or something else in the Geula, is going to be revealed the completion in every single detail of the world. So how do we make that Geula take place? Geula is revealing the completion in everything. How do we get used to and ready for such a time? Is by us being and living a complete, real avodah in life in whatever we're doing. So that's what he's saying. That's dependent in us doing our avodah here, in completely with our full thought, speech, and action. To make here Eretz Yisroel. Not in a way that you see that a person is not here. A guy is thinking about something else. He's thinking about somewhere else. That's not making here Eretz Yisroel. Making here means that he's totally focused on the here and the now. And through doing this avodah of being here and now and making here and now Eretz Yisroel, and we do it to the best of our possibilities. We do our best to make here the most of it, to make as much as possible that we should see this as a Jewish place, a holy place, a godly place. And we're totally in our avodah here and now. We're not rushing and thinking about something else and somewhere else. Through that itself, we're getting used to the Geula. And that's what's going to bring the Geula. This is preparing us and bringing the time when everything is going to be complete and full in the Holy Land and the true and ultimate redemption. So the Rebbe says this is the lesson for us. To make here Eretz Yisroel. What does that mean? That even though we're in Golus, and we're in the last second of Golus before the Geula comes. Even if we're in the last second of Golus before the Geula, and then we're going to go to Eretz Yisroel. Nevertheless, number one, we need to do our avodah at this second where we are here and now. Here needs to be complete according to the current stage and the current time and the current place. Guys shouldn't think, okay, Mashiach is coming any second, so who cares about the here and the now? No. Right now, you're still here. You're in Hollywood. You're in this, you're in that, whatever it is. So you need to be fully, completely in the here and the now to do your avodah completely. And the second thing that I would say is, what do you need to do? You need to be here completely and make your Eretz Yisroel. You got to bring into here, into this place, at this time, Eretz Yisroel. To bring in here and now, Geula. What's Eretz Yisroel? Geula. What's Geula? To be in everything completely there. Just like a Pinini that brings in whatever he's doing, he does it in a complete way. Even in secondary things, even in introductions, he does it fully. And number three, this itself is getting us used to the redemption. So this itself brings the redemption, the complete redemption. When all the Jewish people will return to the Holy Land, literally, as you saw, will spread around to the whole world, all the nations, through doing our avodah and making here and now Eretz Yisroel. And this Shabbos is what it's not Shabbos before. Tonight you Shabbos before so we'll get back to this a different time. But this is because the Geula still didn't come this second. So that's Mashkach Pratis that we're still here. this place and in this time. So for sure we have to use out the time that we're here and now to make here and now Eretz Yisrael. What does this mean in action? That he says. Because this lesson to make here Eretz Yisrael is a lesson that was given over to us through my father-in-law, and he advertised it. Till then, it wasn't advertised to everyone. Only specific, special people knew about it. But if you can advertise it to everyone, is understood. And this is a lesson for every single person in this generation. Everyone is connected to the Rebbe, and everyone has to do this avodah. Especially when we're studying the Torah portion, when we talk about inheriting and splitting the land. And we're in a time when everything is ready for the meal. We're standing by the threshold of the redemption and splitting of the land and Eretz Yisrael, literally. So that's the Rebbe. Every single Jew needs to add in this avodah of making here Eretz Yisrael. Every single man and woman, and children, every single person in his place and his time and in his state, and do this avodah in the most complete way with his thoughts, speech, and action, and to get used to the redemption the way it's going to be there, to live the moment. That's getting us ready for the redemption.
Amen.
Okay. We'll continue from bringing about this. It looks like time is not. It's what time is it now? 11:30. Wow. Well, I didn't even know that time was on. 2 hours.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah. The Rebbe basically says to advertise this everywhere. Make here, Eretz Yisrael. Chef now.
Amen.
Well, so we said we can continue the Rambam. At least we'll do 3 more halachas. Not to keep to my word, yeah? We continue. Halacha is given. We're just stop the thing, right click, and screen, whatever.
Where, how?
On the top right corner, there's a thing.
And screen?
No, it's not a touch screen, so you have to move the mouse.
Oh, I got no mouse. Where's
Halacha is
the
given.
mouse?
Even the Bashal Yom Niftim, Lahachal Goyim Club, you're not allowed to cook and bake on Yom Niftim feed Goyim or animals or dogs. Shemer Hul Lavad Yosef Lachem Lachem Lo Yibem Lachem Lo Lachem. It says it's for you